Hey y'all, it's Annelies, and YouTube Rewind 2018 came out on December 6th of 2018 and has already gotten a big response. And it's not exactly a positive one. There are over 13 million dislikes on this video, and it is growing, and it has currently surpassed Baby as being the most disliked video on YouTube of all time. So congratulations. YouTube Rewind, for those of you who don't know, is YouTube's attempt at kind of like a look back at the year on YouTube, and keep that in mind because that will be important later. And it started in 2011. I actually didn't know this, but I watched, I think Marquez Brownlee made a video about it, and he said that Rebecca Black was in the very first YouTube Rewind in 2011, and it was kind of like a top 10 list of the most viral videos of the year. Then it kind of turned into like around 2013, 2014, like this video that was a mashup, creating something new, look back at the year, touching on all the popular things, and then last year people really started to not like it, and then this year it got even worse in some of people's opinions. So I wanted to kind of talk about it because I do think there are some good points, there's some bad points, there's some weird points, and I thought it would be interesting to kind of share my perspective and hear your guys' perspective. So if you have not watched YouTube Rewind yet, go and watch it so you can kind of get a context on what I'm saying, but most likely you've watched it because there's 140 million views. You've got to be one of those views, right? So I kind of divided my look at the YouTube Rewind as the yay, the nay, and the meh. Kind of like the good, bad, and the ugly, but like the meh isn't that ugly, it's just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I'm trying to knock all over the place, but let's go ahead and start with the yay.
Is this what you wanted?
So overall, I think this video was a very well-produced video, as they have been. Even if you look at the 2011 one, it looks kind of bad in today's standards, but in 2011, I don't think it was considered that awful looking. According to Marquez, he was saying that there's a production company that YouTube uses who makes these videos.
But YouTube Rewind's not made by one guy, it's a production team, so it's made every year by a company called Portal A, a production company, and YouTube is the client.
And they do an excellent job with it. I think all the YouTube Rewinds, no matter how cringy or good or bad they were, they look really great and they are pretty creative. I say that with quotations because it's not like you've seen it before, but it's not that outside the box, but they're all new stuff, so I think they all look really good. I think if you were looking at YouTube Rewind as a person who has no clue about anything in the YouTube sphere, you would say it was a really good video and it had a really good message. However, to kind of tack onto that, if you know anything about YouTube and the community, you would just kind of go, this is a bunch of like BS and it's really ingenuine and it's just kind of vague. And that's my biggest qualm with YouTube Rewind, is that a lot of it feels ingenuine and a lot of it just feels too non-specific to make any sense for being something that seems to be so specific, like a YouTube, like one platform review at the year on that platform. So looking at it from a very far away objective perspective, that rhymes, I would say YouTube Rewind seems to have a good message. And to kind of go back on that, I'm going to be referencing Marquez's video a lot because he made a lot of good points in it, and one of the points that he made was that YouTube Rewind has kind of turned into like this ad for YouTube advertisers to be like, hey, advertise on our platform. And so they put all like the good stuff in YouTube Rewind and like try to highlight that it's a
really good platform and it's a cultivating environment and all this stuff.
But then it misses the mark on a lot of things that the community think is important, and it really just kind of targets like advertisers and a look, media, YouTube is good. But like I said, it's just missing the mark. So a lot of things like from the starting point I think were good, and I've got a list right here. The integration of Fortnite and Ninja was very important because Ninja blew up over 2018 and so did Fortnite. And I heard a lot of people complaining that like Ninja isn't a primary YouTuber, which I mean he's not. Like he primarily streams on Twitch, but he uploads his Let's Plays and like different videos to YouTube, and he's got over 20 million subscribers, so you can't say that he's not a YouTuber. Like he has a platform on YouTube, it's just not his main platform, as a lot of YouTubers might. They might be models, or they might be actors or whatever, or they have a second gig that maybe gets them their money or gets them more jobs, but YouTube is a home for them. So I think using the excuse of Ninja shouldn't have been in it, I think it's no, I don't agree with that. I think he was well placed. I think the beginning of the video started off good. You had Will Smith, he's blown up on YouTube, but yeah, he's from the traditional media, but he's also really integrated into YouTube as of this year. So that was fun. Then you get MKBHD in there, you get the Fortnite bus. A lot of those people on that bus, I did not know who they were, but I got the reference and I thought it was fun and it looked really cool. Then you've got Liza Koshy, she comes in. Of course you gotta incorporate Liza Koshy. Then the campfire scene started, and this is where you could say either the best or the worst of YouTube Rewind happened. The beginning of the campfire scene I think was good. There was like a lot of good moments there. There was the whole funny K-pop dancing bit, and I felt so bad for Casey Neistat because I don't know if he's ever listened to K-pop in his life, but that one little line of just K-pop! Love it. Anyway, moving on. We've got like Molly Burke and the Try Guys. That was so fun. Both of those people, I think once again, it's like they have had like a growth and an impact on YouTube. Molly doing a lot of videos about her blindness with other YouTubers, so not only just on her channel, but conquering a lot of space. The Try Guys leaving BuzzFeed and starting their own production company and like getting over 4 million subscribers in just a couple of months. Like, it was amazing. So there's that. The whole thing with Gallup was just cute. Rosanna Pansino was in it. Love it. We move over to ASAP Science and Sophia Nagard, who did a like science evil experimenty thing about melting lipsticks, which once again, Sophia really blew up on YouTube this year with all her crazy like makeup science videos and like Frankenstein makeups. So that was a lot of fun. I think the biggest success from the whole campfire section of YouTube Rewind was the part where Elle Mills kind of threw something into the fire and said, let's read the comments. And then Liza Koshy was like, I think that was a bad idea because the comments are bad. Like, that's where it felt like the most like what YouTube Rewind should be, is focusing on the community of YouTube. So the Sister Squad was in there. There was ASMR. There was Fortnite dances. There was football, not American football, but the football. There was a lot of things that it came from the community, and that's why people liked those bits so much. Because yeah, it was just the Sister Squad in space suits in a car in space and then like sprinkled out throughout the video, but like that's something that people go, oh my god, that's the guy I like, or that's the girl I like, or that's the person I like, and like, yay, that I get that, I understand that, those are the YouTubers I watch, or that's what I like. Having that integrated, I think, brings the community out as well as makes the viewers of YouTube Rewind like the video better, because that's kind of what it's all about, I feel like. I really loved the whole In My Feelings challenge part because, one, I forgot that happened, but that was a big part of this year, not only in like the media sense, and it was on social media everywhere, but it was also on YouTube and people were uploading their videos to YouTube, and then that integrated like animators from YouTube, which is a sector of the platform that I feel like is not in the spotlight as much. Like, I know Domix and I know The Odd One Out. The Odd One Is Out. I know those two animators, but I don't know the other ones, and it's just cool that YouTube Rewind is also used as a way to showcase other creators that you may have not heard about. There's, I would say, about 50% of the people featured in this video I had never heard of before, or maybe I'd seen, but I had no idea what their name was or what they did on YouTube. And at the end of YouTube Rewind, they always do like a, hey, go look at these guys, or this is everybody who was featured, and show like a little clip of who they were. So that's nice for kind of launching those creators. And the other part that I really liked about the campfire section as it moved to the not so good section, it was like the High Hopes. It was the song playing in the background was High Hopes by Panic at the Disco, and that's when that instrumental version of it started, and that's when it got really bad and cringy. But the beginning of it started good with Lily Singh saying about people who did stuff that are bigger than themselves and like showcased people who maybe did charity streams, or like Markiplier did something with Make-A-Wish, I guess. I don't know, I never knew about that, but there was a lot of showcasing of that, which was really cool, as well as Casper Lee was talking about like mental health, and that was another thing that YouTubers made videos and were like, I need to take a break, I'm burnt out. Like Grace Helbig just came back from a vacation, or like a time away from YouTube. There were people on the platform who said, hey, I need a break because of my mental health, and really talked about that. So I think that was an important thing to showcase in YouTube Rewind. And that kind of ends my yay section. I think I'll think of things as we start talking about the other sections, but I wanted to go ahead and move on to the nay.
Is this what you wanted?
Okay, so something that like Shane Dawson said on Twitter was like, where was Trisha during the section about mukbang or mukbang, however you say that? And I think I agree with him to an extent. I think it was good to have a whole bunch of different Asian creators showcased in the whole mukbang section, but I also think it would have been fun to kind of incorporate Trisha, because I think Trisha really blew up mukbangs or mukbangs, however you say it, in the United States, which kind of leads into an idea that I know people talked about a couple of years ago, and I very much agree with, is that YouTube Rewind should make regional rewinds. So maybe not based on certain countries, countries, but based on their biggest markets. So perhaps like a North American market, a Latin America market. The UK I know is just like a huge market on its own. There's so many different regions of the world that are big on YouTube. In doing a regional rewind, YouTube would be able to touch on more audiences, touch on more detail within the certain communities, as well as make people happier with YouTube Rewind. Also, I think it could be more beneficial for the sake of if they want to send this to advertisers, because there might be people who you send it to and they kind of go, oh, well, those are all American people, or this is mainly in English and we are people in Germany. My advertisers don't care about people who speak English. You know what I mean? So I think that would be a benefit. However, I get the draw of having everybody on YouTube come together in one video, but if you only want it to be 7 minutes, you're gonna miss a lot, and no matter what you do, you are always going to make somebody unhappy, because there's always somebody out there who's gonna go, I wish my favorite creator was in that, or this wasn't touched on, or this meme, or this cultural phenomenon, or whatever, this wasn't in YouTube Rewind. That's always gonna happen, and I think by having one big YouTube Rewind, you're always gonna have that, as you will if you did regional rewinds. However, the draw is like everybody gets to see all the cultures of the world. There's new creators that get shouted out to different regions. If somebody wants to watch Rewind, they might be more inclined to go, oh, well, I'm just gonna watch the one from my region and not watch all the other ones. But by putting it all in one video, everybody who wants to watch Rewind is forced to watch every other. That sounds weird to be like forced to watch people from different countries, but like that's kind of what it is. Yeah, if that makes any sense. And then I think it's like the production value. Is it worth it for them to do that many videos? Is it worth it for them to do a longer video? What if they did regional ones and a singular like combined one, but you don't want to repeat jokes because trends go across. You don't want to just like film the same thing but with two different people. It's kind of like I get where there's problems that you can run into. However, I think YouTube is a big enough corporation to be able to figure it out. I don't think money is much of an issue, but I could be wrong. Okay, now in the bad section, I think I just want to go ahead and hit on the whole high hopes section of the campfire. There are good little bits in it, and then it is cringe central, and that's what I think everybody's the most pissed off about. So I already talked about Lily and Casper. This is my least favorite line of, I think, of the entire rewind, is to the people who put aside their differences and created something really special. Give me one example. If you can give me one example, like I'll shut up. But I have no clue what that line is referencing. It is so vague, first off. Second off, it says the people who put aside their differences and created something really special. I can't think of anything that was created that was really special through people's differences this year. The only thing that was really spectacular in the spectacle of it, not saying that it was amazing, was the Logan Paul KSI fight. Once again, yay, the Paul brothers are not featured in this year's rewind, so that's great. But the Logan Paul KSI fight got like record numbers or some crap, and it made a whole bunch of money, and like they weren't putting aside their differences, they were showcasing their differences because they were fighting each other about them. So there's that. YouTube Rewind, I don't think there was anybody in it who hated each other, or else they wouldn't agree to do it, because if you didn't know, YouTubers don't get paid to do YouTube Rewind. They go to a set, are there for 14 hours, and then they film a lot of stuff and they get 3 seconds of it in the video. A lot of YouTubers have talked about this. They don't get any sort of monetary compensation. I think they get food while they're there, and like that's about it. And maybe that's changed. I don't know. Nobody has said anything outright about this year's rewind, but I remember Emma Blackery made a video just kind of being like so frustrated because she was there for like 12, 13 hours. She was in the London winter freezing weather, and they wanted her to dress like she was in the summer. So she was like cold all day. She was super tired because it was a long day, and then she had like 2 seconds in the video, and like it was like the side of her head and then the front of her face, and that was it. So I don't think people put aside their differences to make YouTube Rewind, and if you're saying that's really something great before they'd even get to critical reception, then that's kind of like cocky of you. But anyway, I don't know what that line is talking about, and I think that's just, okay, that was my least favorite part. And then the part where I think Nikki Tutorial said a shout out to all women in 2018, that's really vague. That's my biggest thing is there's a lot of women who aren't on YouTube, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be celebrating women. I am a woman, but why just everyone, even people not including your platform, are what you should be celebrating in YouTube Rewind? It's this tricky line, because I don't want to say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't celebrate good things in the world, because you should, but I don't think the BBC is gonna have a episode on their network dedicated to the successes in media and all the Oscars that went to people on NBC and ABC and non-BBC corporate, you know what I mean? So like, yes, a lot of people won these awards, but none of them were for our networks, but we're gonna celebrate that. Like, it's this weird line, once again, that is just so vague. Then they kind of brought it back where there was a YouTuber who was there and she was like, yeah, for working mothers, that's very important on YouTube. There's a lot of family vloggers, a lot of people having babies. Colleen Ballinger just having a baby. There are working mothers on YouTube. So that's kind of bringing it back a little bit. And then in my opinion, we kind of lost it again when there was somebody who said, to all the kids who pursued their dreams, once again, super vague. And then there was another section about refugees, once again, super vague. There was somebody, Laura DIY said, a shout out to Asian representation in media. Once again, super vague. Like, I would like that part. Like, they did it really well with Lily Singh in the beginning. Like, she started talking and then over her voice, they put video of the people she was talking about. I think that would have made more sense to do in like this section where Laura DIY was talking about Asian representation. Because yes, that is a big milestone in Stride and it's amazing, but tell me how it was done on YouTube. It's like YouTube is taking credit for things they haven't done yet. I want to see Asian representation on YouTube. Where is it? Give me examples. Because if you don't have it, you're not doing a good job at it, but you're still taking credit for it. So yes, there was Asian representation in mainstream media, but how about social media? And that's what YouTube is. And it seems like they're just taking credit or trying to be like, oh yeah, look at this great thing that happened. And then you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, I'm so happy about all women in 2018 and Asian representation. Like, I love that stuff. And YouTube Rewind was so great because they talked about it. Like, I really love YouTube. Wait a second, let's pause, let's analyze for a second. Did YouTube cultivate those things? That's for you to decide. But unless if you can show me receipts, I don't know if you did. It's too vague. Like, refugees, yes, that is an important thing to talk about, but like, was it talked about on YouTube? I think that's the thing I'm just gonna keep going back to is this is YouTube Rewind, not the rewind of 2018. And that is my biggest point. Is it talking about YouTube or is it talking about the year 2018? Because if it's talking about the year 2018, not necessarily on YouTube, then I take back a lot of things that I've said. Because yes, they are talking about the year in the world, but it seems like we're talking about the year in the world on YouTube is what it's at least supposed to be talking about. And then I think when we bring it back to Simone Yertz and the person who talked before her, who I do not know, they said, thank you to the whole community who supports us at our best and our worst. And then when Simone was talking about when she got a brain tumor and like the support through the comments and the likes and the response through her videos on her journey of having brain surgery, that's talking about YouTube. And she was saying she got a community from YouTube on people who were supporting her at our best and our worst as a whole community. You see what I'm saying? That's the mark I want to hit. It's the community of YouTube that helps people, that I think would even be a better thing to touch on as a video if you wanted to advertise to advertisers to put ads on your platform. That's a perfect thing to use. Look, there was this woman who had a brain tumor and the whole community of YouTube, because our platform is so amazing, helped her and supported her and made her feel welcome in like a family. Like, that's good shit to be advertising. Like, that's the stuff I think advertisers are looking for versus vague things. I think overall, if you took the campfire section after the high hopes out, except Lily and Casper and then the guy at the end and Simone, like, you'd be good. Also, there was a girl in the middle who said something about people being their own beautiful. Oh yeah, be your own beautiful seems more like it's in the YouTube sphere because I feel like body positivity was a big topic in a lot of like lifestyle bloggers on YouTube. So that comment, okay, so keep the two people at the end, keep the two people at the beginning, then you've got a good campfire section. Remove everything else, makes it less vague, makes it less cringy, makes it less like trying to be like a Hallmark movie, really pulling on the heartstrings and like more genuine. And then let's go ahead and move on to the meh. What do we do? Which is not necessarily the ugly, it's more so things that I have questions about or I'm indifferent about. The biggest thing I think a lot of people always touch on, and I've kind of talked about this already, is people wanting certain YouTubers in videos and didn't get them. And the biggest outcry went around Shane Dawson, PewDiePie, MrBeast, Jeffree Star, and David Dobrik. Now, David Dobrik, I actually watched an interview with him and he said he was asked to be in YouTube Rewind and he turned it down. So he potentially was going to be in the video. He said no and was kind of happy because people hate it anyway.
YouTube Rewind was not good.
So that's why David's not in it. Jeffree Star obviously has controversy, so yeah, not in it. From the sense of having controversy, that's also where PewDiePie comes in. They've atoned for their sins. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But there are still negative connotations and people try to keep finding dirt on these two people in particular, like PewDiePie and Jeffree Star. And so I can get why YouTube would not want to go, hey, let's put them on the front page. Now people might argue you that the Paul brothers were in it last year and they had already been doing bad stuff. And that's where I say, I don't know how to answer that question. Like that's the problem with YouTube, is the Paul brothers, before the whole Dead Force video, before Logan Paul before he went overseas, before that happened, they were still doing dumb stuff. So they were being stupid and setting fires to his backyard, yet they were still featured in YouTube Rewind. However, people like Jeffree Star and PewDiePie, who have done work to say, hey, I apologize for the things I've done in the past, and yet they won't be featured in YouTube Rewind. Yeah, there's a lot of questions there, and there's a lot of, hey, what, I'm not gonna solve this problem. YouTube isn't gonna watch my video and go, Annelies, you're right. We are stupid. But you get what I'm saying. Shane Dawson, I don't know. I don't know why he wasn't really featured. And I don't know if, honestly, if Shane Dawson was asked if he would do it. Because he's kind of the type of person, I feel like, from at least what he portrays online, the type of person to be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna get out of my house. I don't wanna work with those people. Like, I don't wanna, like, the social aspect of it might make him anxious. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for him, but I can understand why he wasn't in it. Mr. Beast, I feel like keeps his videos pretty clean, and he's definitely blown up on YouTube in this year, but I don't know why he wasn't in it either. But once again, you're not gonna make everybody happy. There's always people that are gonna be missed. However, those are people that were like big names, I feel like, all around the world. Here's like some questions that I have. People who I was confused about them being big on YouTube or whatever. The art of drag was shouted out during the high hopes section, which I just have a question, like, is that in the YouTube sphere? Because yes, drag, I love drag. I was at a drag show last night, but like I've seen people do like drag makeovers from drag queens, but like it's non-drag queens. I don't know if drag queens have made a big impact on YouTube that I just haven't seen this year. Like, yeah, just from like, I see Netflix and Good Morning America and BuzzFeed and Cut and Wow Presents, but like the only like big things in the YouTube sphere, Tyler Oakley got made over by a drag queen, James Charles did a video about drag, and then Willem had a channel, but I don't even know if he does that anymore. Yeah, Cosmopolitan, so I don't know, that's kind of weird. See, it's just kind of, once again, it's a vague shout out. We also have Adam Rippon. He's not on YouTube. He has videos with Cosmopolitan, and there's videos from him skating on TV, but like the Cosmo videos only have at most 100,000 views. Otherwise, they range anywhere from like 10K to like 70K. So, you know, like, why was he featured? I don't know. That's just like, the yodeling kid made sense, because I think his video went viral on YouTube. Maybe it was Facebook, but people did videos about the yodeling kid on Mason Ramsey is his name, by the way, on YouTube. So like that makes sense to me, but Adam Rippon does not. Of course, I just had to eye roll at Lele Pons and Amanda Cerny being featured in YouTube Rewind. Was it Amanda Cerny or was it Hannah Stocking? Are they different? I don't think so. They just keep producing the same garbage over and over again, so what's the point? Anyway, Lele Pons and Hannah Stocking. Cody Ko and Danny Gonzalez made some really good videos about them, and they just kind of like make garbage content that is marketed towards like tweens, and they try to act like they're in high school. But let's see, how old is Hannah Stocking? She is 26. They're way out of high school. They make videos about being in high school, in middle school, in homework, in videos, and Lele Pons does videos where they're open advertisements, but nowhere in the video she says they're an ad, so it's misleading young children. I love that in a creator, right? They were in the I love it section, and I was just kind of like, ugh, whatever, them again. Once again, going back to the I love it section, that was funny. The I love it outfits from that one music video that Kanye West did with that other guy. Don't know who that is. But that was funny. That was from the comment section. So like YouTube Rewind had its ups and downs. I think that if I were to cut the perfect rewind, I'd remove a lot of the campfire section. I don't know, I feel like a popular theme of YouTube Rewind is at the end, they just get whatever song they were last playing. So whatever one of the big songs is, so like High Hopes, I like it. Oh, the Baby Shark section was funny too. That was a good one. They get the song, and then they've already touched on every scene at least once, and then like in the last minute, they go, okay, let's replay every scene in only like 1 second increments over that song. I think instead of doing that, they could make more new stuff and then do like a da-da-da-da-da YouTube Rewind. I don't know, like little clips spliced together at the very end, but it doesn't need to be like a minute long of them going back to like different things. It's one of those things, the about 7 minutes that YouTube Rewind is, excluding like the credit section where primitive technology is there, the 7 minutes goes by really fast, so it doesn't drag. Nowhere in the video drags. I feel like there was a good storyline, and I'm just all over the place right now. Let me start over. I think the parts that got like repeated over and over again maybe could have repeated less and then added new sections that kind of tapped on other themes and thoughts. So that's just like my opinion on that. I don't know. But this is all just my opinion. And that's what's important to remember, is these are just my thoughts. Everybody has a different thoughts and opinions. You know, everybody's got a different perspective. And I think something that YouTube Rewind needs to consider is that, one, if they're not aware of this already, you're not gonna make everybody happy. You just aren't. Two, if YouTube Rewind is supposed to be an ad for YouTube, then make it clear that this is like a marketing tool. But if you're trying to make it look like, oh look, this is our YouTube yearbook, people are gonna expect that, and then when you don't give it to them, they're gonna be upset. And now that's why your big advertising thing has 13 million dislikes, so good on you. I think focusing on more specifics within your platform, but it can be vague within your platform, but making it specific to your platform because that's what this video is supposed to be celebrating, I think would be a great idea. This video isn't the worst video on YouTube in the same way that the baby music video isn't the worst video on YouTube. I think dislikes are not an equivalent to how good the video is. It just tells you how people felt about it, and I frequently don't dislike videos. Like if I'm not liking the video, I don't dislike it. I only dislike it if I really think there was problems with it or I didn't like it for some reason. But like I like a lot of videos, even if they're not like amazing videos, I'll like it. So I don't think a dislike holds the same weight as a like, because I think people are more casual to like videos but maybe less casual to dislike videos. I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. So I don't think the 13 million dislikes are like, oh my god, it's the worst video on YouTube. However, I think it is representative to how a large amount of people feel about it. But I mean, still, there's 140 million views and there's only 13 million dislikes and 2 million likes, so that's still not 140 million. And well, anyway, I've already talked about this enough. Let me know what you guys think. If you've watched YouTube Rewind, if you're involved in the YouTube community in any way, shape, or form, let me know what you think. Or if you're not, I'm actually interested to see if you're somebody who just watches, I mean, there are people who just watch my videos, but if there's people who aren't really involved in the YouTube community but you watched YouTube Rewind, I'd be interested to see what you think about it as somebody who's not as involved. And do people who don't understand the YouTube community think more highly of YouTube Rewind because it's more vague and they can kind of relate to it? Or do they still think it's out of place? I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this video and listening to my stupid opinion on this whole thing. I think it's just an interesting YouTube culture phenomenon going on right now. And I think it would be very meta of them to reference it in next year's Rewind, even though it's technically 2019. I think they should hint on it. I think that's how the video should start, with like, 13 million dislikes. How can we make this better? That would be a good way to lead into the next one. Meta, self-observant, self-aware content like that is like my jam. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you can subscribe. You can give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. All my social media are in the description down below, as well as my Patreon and my podcast. Go ahead and check those out. Otherwise, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay beautiful, have a marvelous day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!